Hello, welcome. This is Infocus. I'm Bradley Valenaki. Almost all Papua New Guineans are Christians. That was the religion that was brought onto our shores by the European discoverers that stayed with us even before independence and the formation of our beloved constitution. Now, there is an undertaking by government to see that Papua New Guinea is a Christian country by law. And I have with me here in the studio Associate Professor at the National Research Institute, Professor Eugene Ezebilo. So welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Professor, you've done some work in terms of this particular undertaking by government, that is to see Papua New Guinea become a Christian country by law. Tell us about it.
Yeah, actually, the piece I've written, initially it wasn't intended to write about, the output you have. It wasn't intended to write about, whether PNG is a Christian nation or not. My first intention was to, explore, to really find out whether, to find out how PNG can become the richest black Christian nation. I know that declaration was made when the Prime Minister took over, the current Prime Minister. So in terms of unpacking that statement, as a researcher, first of all, is for me to unpack the statement. First of all, to find out the black nations in the whole world. Then secondly, to find out the countries that are Christian nations. So in the course of doing that, I have to conduct a literature review. So while I conducted a literature review, I just find out that, okay, to be a Christian nation, there are some criteria that a country needs to meet. Then I said, okay, one of the criteria is that the country needs to have it in the constitution, that that country, it's the primary religion, it's Christianity. Then I went through PNG's constitution only to find out that no, PNG is not actually officially a Christian nation. And when I found that, then I said, okay, then I need to write this because, that has restricted me from going forward, especially to find out how PNG can be made the richest black Christian nation.
Yeah, so Professor, many would argue that it's in the preamble that PNG is a Christian nation.
Yes, it's in the preamble, but the preamble is just more or less a general statement. It's not a legal tool. The legal tool, it's the sections in the section in the main body of the Constitution. For example, if you check section 45, you find out that if you look at page 2 or so, where it says what does the PNG Constitution say about religion. So according to section 45 of the Constitution, it says every person has rights to freedom of conscience, thoughts and religion, and practice of his religion and beliefs. No person shall be compelled to receive religious instructions, and no person is entitled to intervene unsolicited into the religious affairs of different belief, and no person may be compelled to take an oath that is contrary to his religion or belief. Religion being referred, on this section 45, it includes traditional religious beliefs and customs of the people of PNG. So you can see that Christianity is not really mentioned in section 45. But it's important for you to note that the preamble that we have in the PNG Constitution, it's something similar to what most of the Pacific Island nations also have in their constitution, except Fiji. Other Pacific Islands countries, they have that in their preamble, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, that is not a sufficient condition to say that PNG is a Christian nation.
So, Professor, I guess from the start of the program, I did mention that the Christian religion was brought onto our shores by the discoverers, and I guess that explains why the other Pacific Island countries, no doubt, have the same. But it can also mean that at the time of the formation of the Constitution, those that were involved were Christians.
Yeah, that may be so. Those that were involved in the, in writing the Constitution were Christians, but at the same time, in declaring or making Christianity a legal tool in the Constitution, it has to do. It's important for everyone to be, to contribute to it. For example, what the current government is doing at the consultation, because when you're talking about a Constitution, it is written by the people and it is for the people. So for any country to include or to insert such thing in the body of the Constitution, it's important for everyone to agree to it, and that may be one of the reasons that the group that wrote the Constitution never put it or inserted it in the main body of the Constitution.
So in your own professional view, the consultation that's happening now, is it right? Is it the right thing that should be done at the moment in terms of understanding where the people stand in terms of making by law Papua New Guinea as a Christian country?
Yes, I mentioned earlier, when we're talking about democracy, democracy is government for the people and by the people, and at the same time, Constitution mimics that. So, for us to bring up things like that, it's important for us, first of all, to consult the people. But when you're talking about consultation, the consultation must reach everyone, not just the one via the internet, because there's a lot of people that doesn't have access to internet, and there's a lot of people that cannot read and write. So all these people need to be reached, because we are talking about national issue. So in view of that, everyone needs to be reached, not just social media and not just the internet. People need to be reached, because those people, especially those who are in rural areas, as can recall, PNG will have about 87% that lives in rural area, and only 13% live in the urban space. So we cannot just use what the people in urban space say to conclude that this is what we're going to do. So we need to reach our rural areas, because those people there matters a lot.
True. Interesting discussions there, Professor. We'll take a quick break now and return on the other side with more. This is In Focus. Welcome back, and I still have with me in the studio the Deputy Director at the National Research Institute here in Papua New Guinea. Professor, continuing on with our discussions, interesting, we did an online poll for those that are on the online space, and we found out, interestingly, that at least 16% agreed that we should enact by law that Papua New Guinea is a Christian country, and 84% said no. So that basically represents not entirely Papua New Guinea, but that's a good place to start.
Yes, actually, as I said earlier, especially in terms of urban area and the rural area, and people who have access to internet and those that don't have access to internet. So although the survey that EMTV has done, that is good for a start, but at the same time that doesn't represent or capture the views of everyone, especially those one that doesn't have access to internet and those one that doesn't have access to Twitter, and at the same time those that cannot read and write. So what the government is doing now, especially in terms of trying to capture views of people who have internet, and at the same time capture the view of other people that doesn't have internet. I think that will provide a better result. So with that, now then we said that that's more or less balanced.
Yeah. Yes. So the wider consultation that's actually being conducted by the CLRC at the moment.
Yes.
So now many people would ask if this law was to come into play, what will it mean for the other religions here in Papua New Guinea?
In my own experience, for example, the case of Samoa, it doesn't mean much because there's no any restriction of, or restriction for other people to practice their own religion. There's no any restriction, but only that, it's more or less like a feel-good thing, whereby, okay, we are proclaiming to be Christians, or maybe we'll go around bragging that we are Christians, out there. Whereas in our constitution, we don't have, we are not officially a Christian nation. So, in my own opinion, and what I have seen so far, especially that of Samoa, there's no any restriction imposed on anyone.
All right, so that would probably be the same for us here in Papua New Guinea?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
In your research, you highlighted state-owned church. What did you mean when you say state-owned church?
Yes, for example, it's more or less that a church being supported by the states, and a church that, that also help the state in one way or the other, especially, for example, whenever there's any event, then the church, we need to, be invited.
So why have that when we already have a lot of denominations already, Christian denominations here in Papua New Guinea? Why have a state-owned church you proposed?
No, but I'm not proposing that there should be a state-owned church, but based on the criteria. You see, so what is that? It's more or less the church which is affiliated to the state. You see, but in PNG as it is now, I think it might be very difficult to do so. The reason is that we have a lot of denominations, and we cannot just say, okay, let the Catholic, or maybe let the Methodist, or maybe any other Salvation Army.
True. So I think you go to one specific event where it's happening in predominantly an area where the Catholic Church dominates. Then they take ownership of.
Exactly.
That's currently happening in Papua New Guinea.
So that might actually cause problem. But I think the main thing is to, if really is the intention of everyone, that PNG should be a Christian state. So I think the main thing is to put it in the constitution, in the body of the constitution. I think that is the main thing, because in PNG already, you find out that the churches, they are contributing one way or the other, and at the same time they are working with the government one way or the other. For example, in the provision of public services, especially in rural areas. So we said that the church is already, part of the system. So, but now bringing up one church, one denomination, to become the state's own church, I think, in my own view, that might cause a lot of problems.
Because here in Papua New Guinea, we proclaim ourselves as a Christian nation, and I think the government is heading towards that direction to say on paper that officially Papua New Guinea is a Christian nation.
Yes, it's more or less, having it in paper, on paper that, PNG is a Christian state. But in my own opinion, I don't think that it will lead to any restrictions or it will change the way of doing things. But it's more or less, giving PNG to the hand of God, and probably that, okay, now PNG belongs to Christianity. Although PNG already, the population of PNG that are Christians are 97%, and which is quite huge, you see. So, and in making, having some paper, well, it depends on what the people want. Some people may say, no, it doesn't matter. Some people may say it matters. But for me, I can't say it's good or it's not good, but we need to consider the benefits and costs. If we think that the benefits will be higher than the cost, let it be. But if it's so that, the cost will be higher than the benefit, then we need to forget about it.
So if you look at it, I mean, the founders of the Constitution must have been some of the smartest people to have ever lived on planet Earth. We have a very rich Constitution, so they say here in Papua New Guinea. But why change it now? Why say that we should only have Christianity as the main church in Papua New Guinea, while it's already being practiced?
Well, it's just to make it more or less official, to make it, because when I'm talking about Constitution is what binds all of us together. So in order to make it official, then you need to go into the body of the Constitution. Although it is already in the Constitution, but it is just on the cover page, it's on the preamble. So if we really want to make it more a legal tool, then you need to go into one of the sections in the body of the Constitution. Yes.
All right. Interesting discussions there. Professor, look, we'll take a short break and come back on the other side, and we'll continue this discussion. Should Papua New Guinea be declared a Christian country by law? Interesting discussions here in the studio with me right now on this topic with the Deputy Director of the NRI. Professor, continuing on with our discussion on this matter, Papua New Guineans, we hold this close to our chest when it comes to Christianity, and we've certainly are discussing that. Robin Oge, in a piece on the development blog, argues that the forefathers left this piece of area of the Constitution, Section 45, as it is for a reason, and that's so that other rights are not impeded upon, which is the freedom of religion. Your thoughts?
Well, we were not here when the Constitution was written, so we don't really know the mind of our forefathers, for living for Section 45 the way it is. So they know the reason why it's so. But for me, yeah, it's important for us to have a freedom of religion, but at the same time, if it is so, then we don't need to go about saying that we are a Christian nation. So if we want to say, if we go about saying that we are a Christian nation, then the Constitution needs to be tested. And one way to test it is to look at the criteria, that makes a country a Christian nation. So when it's tested, then the Constitution now is maybe so that it's not so. Okay, yeah.
So that clearly states that Papua New Guinea to date is not a Christian country by law.
Yeah, by law. Although it's so that a lot of people in PNG say that they are Christians, and then 7%. But to make it official, then we need to. It's important to make it official by inserting it in the Constitution.
So that's basically what the Constitutional Law Reform Commission is currently undertaking to do at the moment.
Yeah, that's what they are doing, and I would say that it's a good thing that they are doing it the way they are doing it, because it's good that it wasn't hijacked by some people and just without consultation and set it in the Constitution. So it's important for the views of everyone to be heard, and that's why this is going out.
Yeah, and over time. History has shown that governments of Europe that have dealt with church connections or activities have more or less ruled on rights of people in as far as history is concerned. In your opinion, would we see that in Papua New Guinea if we go down that track?
For me, I don't think so, because now people are wiser than before. People know their rights now, unlike before. In the past, people don't know their rights and they are suppressed. But now, I think more people know their rights, and that's one of the reasons the consultation is being conducted. If a lot of people say no, we don't want, and that is all, then that will not be, the Constitution will not be amended or revised. Yeah. So for me, I don't think so that such a thing will happen, especially if it's so that there's no restriction. When it's inserted in the Constitution, there's no anything that has to do with restriction. Just for example, as I mentioned about Samoa, what they did was just to copy what part of what they have in the preamble, they insert it into the main body, and that is all. But in Samoa, there's still freedom of religion, freedom of, the people have rights the way it is.
All right. Yeah. I understand you're a Christian yourself.
Yes.
If it were to happen in your country, to be declared as a Christian country, would you go for it?
Oh, that is a very big question. Everyone has his own, what the person believes and what the person wants to do. No one will tell you what the person will go for. Just like the consultation now, even brothers will not tell other that I voted for this.
It's a personal choice.
Yes.
Well, but with the inclusion and an enactment as well of Papua New Guinea as a Christian country, it also places the extra burden again on everyone, including the politicians who are driving this, that you have to live by your word. And it's a challenge, I guess. And if you are saying that you're a Christian, you must not steal, or you must do good governance. All this is a challenge as well.
Yeah, that is true. In the morning, I was thinking about it. I was just thinking, okay, it's not just about saying that, okay, we are a Christian country, we are a Christian nation.
You have to live by it.
Yes, we have to also live by, by it, you see. And, that has, it has a lot of, implications also, because, you someone will say, okay, now I'm a Christian, I'm truly a Christian, and we are not doing what a Christian should do, then it's more or less like a laughing stock. You see, so it's important for if the country, for example, inserts this in the constitution, and the Burn Borders Constitution, it's important for all of us to also live by example.
All right.
It's not just only having it there.
True. So your recommendations, basically, as a result of the research.
Yeah, according to as a result of based on my findings, I would say first of all, as it is now, PNG, although 97% say that they are Christians, but officially, according to Constitution, PNG is not a Christian nation. But at the same time, it's important for us to know that when we're talking about Constitution or talking about making a country a Christian nation, it's left for the people to decide what they want. You see, so it should not be forced, or people should not be compelled, to accept what they don't want to accept. So there should be consultation. People, everyone needs to contribute. Both people in rural areas, people in urban areas, people that cannot write, people cannot read. Everyone needs to, views need to be heard, because we are talking about Constitution. The Constitution was written by the people, and it is for the people. And we are practicing democracy, and democracy is the government by the people and for the people. See, so in view of that, for any decision we are to take, it should be, there should be wide consultation. Otherwise, it may be so that we are suppressing the rights of other people.
All right. Yeah. Associate Professor Eugene Ezebilo, thank you very much for your time with us.
Thank you.
And all the best in the research going forward.
Thank you.
All right. This has been another episode of Infocus. If you want to be part of the online poll that's already happening, do go social and engage social with us on our Facebook page or on Twitter. And you can catch this episode a little later on YouTube. From all of us here, thanks for watching. Bye for now. The churches join the conversation next week.
We want the Christian faith to rise and be defended. After all, this country started with a Christian faith. Why should some of the other religious groups come in and start to tamper with our faith, the Christian faith? And then, so our leaders have a duty to defend the people.